although a 3-goal winning margin would suggest a fair gulf between two teams, the actual gulf in performance between Liverpool and Tottenham today just seemed and felt a lot wider than that. Liverpool could have scored any number of goals they so wished today if they really wanted to. Apart from the 6 goals that they did score, there were a number of other very good situations that could have resulted in goals as well. Situations where there was the one where Salah hit the bar, and there were a number of other occasions where the goalkeeper was forced into some very good saves that the Spurs defenders they're trying to just block on the line, blocking in the box, stuff like that. Liverpool were just largely dominant throughout the match. And again, I say that they could have scored any number of goals that they wanted to, because there was a period in this match where they sort of slowed down the tempo, sort of a conserving energy kind of thing for maybe about 20-25 minutes in the second half. That was when they were in the that was when they had that 5-1 lead. And of course, during that period, Tottenham scored another 2 more to make it 5-3. And so what initially looked like a very comfortable 4-goal lead suddenly became a not so comfortable 2-goal lead. And then of course, that 6th goal to make it 6-3 in the 85th minute sort of just resealed the match again. So there was, when I look at it, there's kind of that sense of, I think Liverpool could have scored a lot more during that 20-25 minute period if they had wanted to, if they had just kept up that tempo that they had been playing, at up to that point. But regardless, it is still a very comfortable win. It's still a very good win. Even considering the 3 goals that Liverpool conceded, not sure what really to make of it. I think it's less of blaming someone for this or that, and it just feels a bit more unfortunate, I guess. The first goal that Tottenham scored, that definitely was rather unfortunate. Unfortunate in the sense that McAllister, I think he slipped over or whatever, and the goal just happened like that. The second and third goal that Tottenham scored in the second half, again, it came during that period where Liverpool sort of slowed down to the foot of the gas. They weren't as intense as they had been up to that point. And again, the idea, I believe, would have been to conserve energy, especially for the matches ahead, because in the coming weeks and months, matches every 3 days, 4 days, 3 days, 4 days. So naturally, it makes sense that when you're 5-1 up, you don't need to go full pelt. Every single second, every single minute, every single yard. So at the same time, this sort of had the unfortunate effect of letting Tottenham have the time and the space to pass the ball, move it around, to sort of gain that little bit of attacking momentum, that little bit of attacking impetus. So in doing so, it allowed them to claw back a bit of the deficit. 5-1 became 5-2, 5-2 became 5-3, and especially that 5-3 goal. Unfortunately, Robertson, I think probably misjudged the flight of the cross. He did jump to try and hit it away, but just completely missed all the ball. And so the Spurs player at the far side, a header, and then Solanke was the quickest to react. A turn, a spin, a turn, and just a very tidy finish. And so again, given the way Liverpool has sort of slowed down during that 20 to 25 minute period, So it was good that they suddenly picked up the pace again and scored that 6th goal again to receive the match. So I think, yeah, Liverpool could have scored as many as they wanted here, because the number of times that they kept cutting Tottenham apart, on the attack, on the counter attack, again and again throughout the first half, throughout the second half. Now, the way Tottenham play, everyone knows that they play with this high line, and if for better or for worse, they don't deviate from that, they don't change from that. And so there's always going to be the kind of space behind for Liverpool to exploit. And they did so, really, really just extremely ruthlessly, time and time again. Diaz played very well. Gakpo played his part. Salah, again, the main man in attack, with 2 goals and 2 assists for him today. And now he's taken the lead as well, both in terms of the top scorer for so far in the season, and also the most assists so far in the season. And so, speaking of Salah, so thus far he's got 15 goals. Okay, so these the 2 goals that he scored, so now brings him up to 15 goals scored, 15 Premier League goals scored so far in the season. So he initially was in the joint lead with Erling Haaland for the Golden Boot. Okay, and so now this moves him, in the outright lead. And now with his 2 assists in this match as well, so he is currently on 11, which puts him in the lead for Playmaker of the season. Just ahead of Saka, who's on 10. Then there's a few other players. There's a few other players that's a few assists behind in that particular race. Liverpool as a whole, they did so well today. From back to front. Well, okay, mostly in attack they did incredibly well. Defense could have been a little bit better. Certain moments where I guess sort of like switched off a little bit, which is how they ended up conceding those 2 goals in the second half in the first place. And then just a bit about some of Liverpool's players, because I was really impressed with some of the individual performances of some of the players. Of course, a lot has been mentioned about Salah, and so aside from the fact that he's got 15 league goals so far this season, he's got 11 league assists so far this season, and what he has done also means that he is now 4th on the all-time goal scorers list for Liverpool, having just overtaken Billy Liddell, right? Salah's on 229, Liddell's on 228. Salah, yeah, it's been said before, he is not just one of the Liverpool greats or Liverpool legends of the modern era. I think his name can easily be spoken of in the same breath, in the same sentence, as any of Liverpool's greatest players of any era of all time. When you look at the names like Ian Rush and Kenny Dalglish, John Barnes, etc., Salah's name, I truly believe that Salah's name also belongs in that same conversation. He is that good. And even now, despite being 32 and a half at this point, going to be 33 by the end of the season, and the kind of common impressions that people would have of players at that age, and the conception that such players at that age would be in decline or declining rapidly. And so despite his age and such a conception, he still continues to deliver, and he doesn't look as if he's going to be slowing down anytime soon. So apart from 15 Premier League goals so far in the season, he's got 18 in all competitions. And at the pace And at the pace at which he's scoring currently so far this season, it feels as if he could very well end this season breaking into the top 3 of Liverpool's all-time goal scorers. Third place currently Gordon Hodgson, 241, and so Salah is just 12 away from that. And again, it feels as if he could very well get those 12 goals and then some by the end of the season. Incredible player. Just spectacular the way he is able to consistently deliver. Then there's also, mentions for Luis Diaz. Played very well as well today. Scored 2 goals. His first goal, very nice. What do you want to call it? A flying header or diving header, flying diving header. A pinpoint cross from Alexander-Arnold. Just needing the player at the end of it to get good contact on the ball with the header and get into the goal, and Diaz delivered that. That was it was a lot of desire to get onto the end of the cross. Now granted, it was a free header, no one was challenging him, but he still needed to launch himself forward to make the count of good contact on the header, because if he hadn't, I think the ball would have just passed him by completely. And another very tidy finish to round off the scoring at the end of the game. That finish at that angle, that's not an easy chance to score, but he managed it. And his all-round play, one of the things I like about Diaz, is he's always got that kind of aggression in him, in the sense of in the sense of pressing opponents, hustling and harrying them. Whoever's got the ball, just trying to win it off them, get to the tackle and stuff like that, to try and force the turnover. Now, of course, Liverpool, they do play a pressing game, but I just get the sense and the impression of Diaz is that he is more aggressive than most of Liverpool's other players, and he's tenacious, very tenacious in terms of getting himself into duels, and that same tenacity to try and force himself to be victorious in those duels. And then Szoboszlai today, very complete performance as a midfielder today, and this is one of his best matches that I've seen him in his time in the team so far. Involved in helping the attack when he had the ball, and he was able to make driving runs in midfield, running with the ball, passing the ball forward to the attackers, trying to make things happen. And also the goal that he scored, playing correct. It was a clearance from Alexander-Arnold. He won the header, and in doing so, the header passed the ball to Salah, and straight away Salah ran with the ball, and Szoboszlai himself was also on his bike, making the run, the supporting run to Salah's right. And once Salah played the pass, when Szoboszlai was in, he scored that goal. He could have scored another one as well in the second half when he got the long ball from Alisson, and he just rounded the goalkeeper, but then hit the shot completely wide. He had a few other chances as well. He was also involved in the goal that McAllister scored. I think the ball came in. He was fighting for the header, and McAllister was there on the follow-up. And even then, on the other side of things, when Tottenham had the ball, he was also there trying to get into the tackles, trying to win the ball back. He wasn't shying away from having to defend or help to defend, that kind of thing. So complete performance, on both sides, both in attack and defense. And then Gravenberch as well. Gravenberch, such a he is a really really good midfield talent. I had heard his name before a couple of years ago. He was spoken of, as a very, as one of those big prospects of the future. But of course, admittedly, I've never seen him play. I've only heard of his name and that he is a hot prospect. And seeing the way he has performed for Liverpool, not just today, but so far this season, ever since Slot has come in, I see why he was spoken about so highly during his early years. The way he's able to receive the ball and just spin around his marker, turn around them, and then make driving runs into the space, making things happen. Like a midfield box to box. He's got that engine. He's got that running power. It's unfortunate that we never really saw much of his best last season. But this season he looks like a player, just rejuvenated, revitalized, and Slot is getting so much out of him. We are seeing what Gravenberch is truly capable of. Not just the fact that he will receive the ball and spin around his marker and stuff like that. The fact, I look at him the way he's able to just twist and turn. He could drop a shoulder, feint to the left, feint to the right. Sometimes he looks as if he's capable of twisting and contorting his body in unusual ways. Almost in like unusual ways. It's to sort of fool a marker into thinking that he's going one way, and he could just even you could pass the ball to Gravenberch, and without even stopping the ball or taking a first touch to control it, he could feint his body this way or that, and just dupe the defender or dupe his marker into launching some kind of fruitless tackle, or sending him off, running into the wrong direction because the defender was bamboozled by him, and straight away the space is right there for him to run into, to attack into, to make things happen. And when I see the way he plays and the kind of skill set that he has, my impression is that his skill set is just completely different from the prototypical midfielder that we would have come to see under Jurgen Klopp. In Klopp's time, the midfielders that he most trusted, the players like Henderson and Milner, I have never seen, or at least I can't remember seeing either of them being able to control the ball and manipulate the ball and manipulate opponents in the way that Gravenberch does. Again, even just simply taking the ball and spinning around his marker, sending him off in the wrong direction, that kind of thing. Gravenberch has done it so many times in all the matches this season. And yet, when I think of Henderson or James Milner, the first thing that comes to mind when I think of them is when they receive the ball, they'll stop the ball, take a touch, and they'll have a turning radius of maybe about Jupiter before they finally face forwards with the ball. Gravenberch does away with all of that. One flick and he's through. A feint of the shoulder, he's through. He's the kind of midfielder that I can't recall seeing under Klopp. And I think the way he's playing, and he keeps improving, especially under Slot now, I think Gravenberch can be, he can be one of the top midfielders for the years to come for Liverpool. Fantastic player. Just another great game. Another great game for him in in an increasingly long string of good to great games so far for Liverpool this season. What all this means is that with this win, Liverpool are now top. Okay, Liverpool were top of the table going into this match, but they are still top now. What it does mean is that they extend their lead again at the top of the table. Now, following Chelsea's draw earlier today, Liverpool 39 points, Chelsea 35, Arsenal 33, Nottingham Forest 4th place 31 points, Bournemouth and Aston Villa 5th and 6th respectively, both on 28 points, Manchester City on 27 points. Now, okay, Liverpool with a 4-point gap, and they also have that one game in hand. Okay, so there is the potential. Again, it's just a potential for Liverpool to be 7 points, at least 7 points ahead of the chasing pack, if they can win that game in hand. If that match is away against Everton, and it is not a foregone conclusion, but it is a fantastic position to be in. Top of the table for Christmas. It's a nice feeling. I look at the table and I just smile because I like what I see. But again, a 4-point gap means that at the very least, it will take at least 2 games for the nearest team to overhaul that difference. And if the points gap is 7, then it'll take at least 3 games for any team to overhaul that difference. And so at this point, as it is, not only just the gap at the top of the table, right? But Liverpool are sort of slowly but surely pulling away from the teams in that 4th, 5th, 6th, and 7th place bracket. There was a period earlier in the season when something like the top 4, maybe 5 teams in the league, it would have been separated by maybe about 2, 3, or 4 points at most. But of course, as the games go on, and the teams play each other, and crucially, when you have teams in that sort of top quarter or maybe second quarter of the table taking points off each other, but then the ones who are in that at the top 2, maybe top 3, are consistently winning their matches, that's when you see that kind of points gap start to grow and grow. And of course, something that would also be attention grabbing is the fact that the pre-season title favorites, Man City, are now in 7th place, 27 points, 12 points behind Liverpool, and Liverpool have that game in hand, and again, which means there is the potential for Liverpool to be 15 points ahead of Man City if the game in hand is won. Quite frankly, no one could have seen this coming for Man City to be in this kind of position that they're in. And I don't think anyone would have predicted it at the start of the season, and certainly not with the way they initially were unbeaten through the first 9 games of the season. At the time, after the first 9 games of the season, that 9th match was Man City winning 1-0 against Southampton. Okay, so they were top of the table at the time, but then the drop off since then, it's been 8 matches for Man City since, 6 losses, 1 draw, and 1 win. It's an incredible drop off, and lots of people, lots of fans, lots of viewers, lots of observers, everyone has their opinion and their take on why this has happened. It could be any multitude of reasons. Like it could be an aggregate of any number of reasons, each of which plays a part, and sort of like adds up. It is incredible the kind of drop-off that they have experienced in the past about 2 months by now. Surprising as that drop-off is, the fact is that it is currently happening, and so the other teams need to take advantage of that fact. And right now, Liverpool are doing it better than than the other teams in terms of taking advantage of that fact. And so, top of the table for Christmas, 4-point gap. Bring on Boxing Day.